into clarity. And today we're stepping into a really big area, one that touches everyone: mental health and well being. We're going to dig into this major call to action we received from the Lions organization, that huge global volunteer network. They've launched a really focused initiative. So our job today is to go beyond just the announcement and really analyze their strategy. Okay, so our mission here is basically threefold. First, we want to understand the philosophical core behind this commitment, which is actually quite surprising. Second, the timeline, the specific schedule they've laid out. And finally, how they plan to turn these, big goals into actual targeted services people can access.
Absolutely. And I think we have to start with how they're defining the problem itself. Because the source material, it doesn't really use clinical jargon. They frame mental health not just as, being not sick, which is also the default way we think about it. Instead, they present it as something active, something positive. They actually lay out this core goal for everyone: the strength of mind, the peace of heart, and the hope to live life with dignity. That definition alone, it really elevates the whole thing beyond just fighting disease, doesn't it?
It really does. It completely reframes what their service is aiming for. If the target is strength and peace, not just, say, stabilization, it fundamentally changes the goal for their volunteers. But practically, how does a massive network like the Lions translate something like peace of heart? It's quite abstract. How do you turn that into concrete actions on the ground?
Well, that's where the urgency piece comes in. They tie that deep definition directly to the huge societal problem, stigma. The organization is clearly very aware that millions worldwide suffer in silence, and it's specifically because of this fear and stigma.
Right. That's silence.
Exactly. And for an organization of their size, they feel, it seems, a real moral obligation to step into that silence. They describe their role in this whole thing as being the voice of compassion, the hand of service, and the light of hope. So you have this major global humanitarian group formally taking on mental well-being as a core, visible leadership challenge.
That focus on leading with compassion is, yeah, it's powerful. And it helps us move from that philosophy of purpose, you said, right into the actual structured plan, because, leadership at that scale needs coordination. So they've structured this big push into a specific time frame, a 9-day period they're calling the Mental Health and Wellbeing Service Week. It runs from October 4th through to the 12th, which feels like a very short, sharp burst of activity globally.
It does, but the timing isn't
Happy
random.
mind,
It's strategically
healthy
anchored.
life.
The absolute centerpiece of that whole week is October 10th.
World Mental Health Day.
Precisely. They're piggybacking on that existing global moment to really amplify their own message. By getting potentially millions of members worldwide focused on that same day, they can raise their voices together. And the message is unified, singular. No stigma, only support. It takes it beyond just local projects and turns it into a coordinated global advocacy statement.
No stigma, only support. That really does capture it, doesn't it? It's like the thesis for the whole week. And the source material really emphasizes the visibility aspect, too, their members being seen. Yeah, it mentions members standing tall in our dark yellow jackets, wearing the Lions logo with pride, embodying that motto, "We serve." For an organization built on volunteers, that jacket, it's more than a uniform, right? It becomes this physical symbol in the community, a symbol of availability, of non-judgmental support. It tells you exactly who is offering help, and that visibility itself helps fight the fear.
It's the visual proof of their commitment. You're not just seeing some anonymous effort. You're seeing people, local faces, deliberately signaling, we're here, we can talk about this.
Okay, so let's get into the action plan, because this is where the logistics become really fascinating. Just the sheer range of activities they've listed for those 9 days. It suggests they've thought quite deeply about the different needs out there. They aren't just painting with one broad brush.
No, definitely not. The strategy seems to have two main tracks running side by side.
Yeah.
Broad public awareness and then very specific targeted support.
Okay.
So on the awareness front, they mention things like rallies, aiming to bring inspiration to the entire community.
Right.
That's the high visibility stuff, the general messaging designed to kind of break down that initial wall of silence.
Right, the public face. But the really strategic part, I think, is how they've segmented the services. They clearly recognize that, say, a mental health challenge for a working professional looks different than for a teenager or maybe an older person. That shows real strategic thinking.
Exactly. And they didn't just list demographics.
No, they paired each group with a specific action. For the general population needing help now, there's healing through wellness camps.
Right. And then, like you said, they segment by life stage, which is pretty crucial if you want a 9-day push to actually be effective. They seem to get that well-being is developmental.
Hmm.
So for our youth, the focus is specifically on providing guidance, which acknowledges young people often need direction, maybe coping skills, preventative stuff,
Well,
not just crisis care.
that makes sense. Then the next group targets the working age population, achieving balance for employees.
Mm.
So addressing workplace stress, burnout, that whole juggling act. It brings in occupational mental health, which often gets missed in big campaigns.
Yeah, and that's balanced with specialized care for women and families, recognizing, the unique pressures and support needs within domestic life, and then finally offering comfort for our elders.
So healing, guidance, balance, care, and comfort.
If you line those up, healing, guidance, balance, care, comfort, they're essentially covering the human lifespan and the different settings where mental strain happens.
Right.
This really shifts the organization beyond just, simple charity work. It positions them as a network that's trying to respond to the specific, nuanced needs in their communities. It's a hugely ambitious plan for a 9-day volunteer-driven effort.
It really is ambitious, and it brings up a key question for us in this deep dive. How realistic is it? I mean, for a globally spread out, mostly volunteer group to roll out 5 distinct, pretty specialized services effectively, all at the same time in that tight 9-day window.
That's definitely the core tension here, isn't it? But I think the answer lies in seeing the service week as more of a catalyst, not the end game. The source material is quite clear that they're strategically using the energy from this short burst to launch something much bigger, more lasting.
Exactly. The source says explicitly that even though the service week ends October 12th, the commitment is to carry this mission forward. This is where that long-term vision isn't just nice to have, it's essential.
Right. And the legacy they're talking about building is actual infrastructure. They seem to realize that, yes, rallies and short-term camps meet immediate needs, but they don't fix the underlying systemic issue of silence and poor access to help. So for sustained change, they're zeroing in on 3 very concrete institutional things: creating specialized professional helplines, setting up dedicated local wellness corners, and developing long-term programs.
Those infrastructure points, that's the real measure of seriousness here, isn't it? A helpline, for example, that requires trained staff, funding, ongoing management, dealing with regulations. It's a massive undertaking, not just a weekend thing.
Absolutely.
And the source underlines that this infrastructure is meant to serve millions continually. They're not thinking small scale. They're aiming for regional, sustainable mental health support systems, systems designed to last way beyond October.
And thinking strategically, those wellness corners are particularly interesting. They suggest a safe, physical place in the community, a permanent spot where people can reliably go for help. It integrates mental well-being right into the regular activities of local Lions clubs.
Yeah, that's a significant shift.
It really transforms their service model. It moves the Lions from being an organization that does service occasionally to one that offers ongoing mental health access as just part of what they do.
Which ties directly back to that really powerful closing line in the source material, making sure this week is not just a program, but a movement that transforms lives. It signals that the whole identity of the organization might be shifting to permanently include mental health support and advocacy.
A fundamental change.
So let's try to wrap this up. What does this all mean for you, the listener, trying to navigate this complex world of mental health support? We started this deep dive looking at how the Lions define mental health, this active idea of strength of mind, peace of heart, and hope. Hope to live with dignity. We looked at their strategy, anchoring this global push to that 9-day window, peaking on October 10th using visible symbols like the yellow jackets and that clear message: no stigma, only support.
Right.
And maybe most importantly, we unpack the strategic way they've segmented their actions, from guidance for young people to comfort for older adults, moving beyond just general aid into specific life stage support.
Yeah, and if we pull back and look at the whole picture from these sources, I think the main takeaway is this powerful mix of pragmatism and vision, this duality. They're doing the immediate human stuff, the rallies, the camps to tackle the current crisis fueled by silence. But at the same time, they're committing serious resources to permanent infrastructure, those helplines, the wellness corners. It's like they're fighting on 2 fronts, really. Addressing the immediate suffering while also building the long-term defenses needed for community resilience and access. It's quite holistic.
A very comprehensive approach.
Which leads to maybe a final thought for you to consider, especially given that the sources focus on strength of mind and the dedication involved. We talked about the members, standing tall in those dark yellow jackets. living the We Serve motto. Now, think about this. We know purpose and service are actually key ingredients for our own mental well-being. So how might this whole initiative actually be strengthening the mental health of the volunteers themselves, the ones doing the serving,